Hello, this is Jimmy Steller once again in front of the camera for a special video. Now some of you might know who Reelschool is. For those of you who don't, Reelschool is an award-winning YouTube film critic. Time and time again with video after video, Reelschool proves that he not only understands film, but he loves it. And early on in July, he actually invited me to collaborate with him on a video honoring his top 5 Canadian films. So now, to follow up that collaboration, he's paying me a visit for my own take on Canadian cinema. Welcome, Reelschool.
Hey Jimmy, glad to be here.
Now before we begin, we should emphasize that when you talk about Canadian cinema, you have to address the language barrier first.
The fact that Canada is a bilingual country means that we've got a bunch of films made by the French side and a bunch of films made by the English side. And while the English side has always had to compete with Hollywood, the French side didn't have any competition and was really able to thrive with the market within Canada.
And it's worth pointing out that French-Canadian cinema has been responsible for some of the best Canadian films ever made. To my mind, instantly films like Monsieur Lazare or Café de Flore or La Déclin d'Empire Américain. So many films like that are definitely worth checking out.
But today we'll be looking at the English side of Canadian cinema and to see what kind of films we've made in the midst of all that American influence on the market.
So without further ado, let's start with number 5, Exotica.
Exotica is still one of Adam McGowan's most successful films, and a Canadian film that actually turned a profit in its home nation.
It also cemented director Adam McGowan as one of the most prominent Canadian filmmakers of his time.
Exotica is the movie that pretty much set the stage for the rest of Adam McGowan's career. We get intricate storylines weaving through one another out of chronological order. We get insights into how 6 characters are really connected to one another. And we get shocking secrets brought out as the movie unfolds.
All of this is helped with luscious cinematography, some amazing acting by an all-Canadian cast, and one of my favorite movie soundtracks. Number 4 on my list, Barney's Version.
Barney's Version is a film based off the book by Mordecai Richler, who was arguably Canada's second most well-known author after Margaret Atwood.
The movie follows Barney Panofsky as he deals with 3 marriages, his crazy friends, and his eccentric father.
Aside from Paul Giamatti, Minnie Driver, and Dustin Hoffman, the film actually stars many successful Canadian actors. Actors such as Scott Speedman, Saul Rubinek, Bruce Greenwood, and even David Cronenberg trying a little method acting by playing a director.
Barney's Version is a very human story about a flawed man trying to find some happiness in his life. It's well acted, well written, and all around an amazing film.
Number 3, Ararat.
Fun fact, this was the first Adam McGowan film I ever saw, and over time, it's really dawned on me just how brilliant this multi-layered film is.
It's a movie about a movie being made about the Armenian genocide, which also deals with how human memory can influence filmmaking and how human memory can be flawed when remembering the past. Oh, okay, I've got a headache.
While it is a very ambitious and demanding film, Ararat does an amazing job dealing with all these issues and also showing us the various connections between the characters as the subplots and stories go forward. Some of my favorite scenes involve Christopher Plummer as an old security guard working his last shift, or Elias Koteas playing both the villainous Jedvet Bey and the actor who portrays Jedvet Bey in the fictional film.
Do they ever give a real hint about when he's playing which guy?
Not really. But that is the point. Ararat blends genuine flashbacks with footage of the fictional film being made. Adam's point is that history and our perspectives on history can change radically from the actual truth. But whether it's truth or lies, human lives are turned on these facts, and generations later they can still leave a huge impact. It's one of the best films about history that I've ever seen.
Well, that's great and all, but what if you want a simple, straightforward, awesome action movie with a Canadian flavor?
For that, here's number 2, Bon Cop, Bad Cop.
Those of you who saw our first team up will know that Bon Cop, Bad Cop is actually one of my favorite Canadian films as well. It's a buddy cop movie that speaks to Canada's bilingual history. You have an Anglophone cop and a Francophone cop who have to investigate a series of hockey-related murders.
Long story short, this is arguably the most Canadian film that has ever been made.
It also makes 100 Canadian inside jokes, but even if you're not Canadian, you can still enjoy the awesome action, the talented performances, and the genuine humor of this movie.
But now for number 1 on my list. Like Barney's version, it deals with a man's life. Like Bon Cop, Bad Cop, it's a very simple story. And just like Ararat, it deals with one of the darkest moments of modern history.
Trailer Park Boys the movie?
Close, but no. My number 1 pick is Shake Hands with the Devil.
In the 1990s, there was a genocide in Rwanda leading to almost 1 million deaths, and Romeo Dallaire was a Canadian general trying to keep the peace.
Even when most of the UN forces were withdrawn and no support was coming, Dallaire refused to abandon his post because he knew that there were people who needed his help, and he strove to save as many of them as he could. After he came home, he ended up writing his autobiography, which became the source of information for most of this film.
Roy Dupuis does a phenomenal job in this bilingual film and really showed that Romeo Dallaire tried to stick to his ideals and overcome all the obstacles in his path.
Why do they choose to come here? Maybe they believe you'll protect them. Try acting like that's true, Commander.
Shake Hands with the Devil has us look on as a brave group of men and women tried their best to stop a massacre with very few resources and practically no outside help. It's a painful reminder of what could have been prevented, but at the same time it honors the physical and psychological sacrifices given by people like Romeo Dallaire. It's an honoring of a Canadian hero, and so it's my choice for the best English Canadian film that has yet been made.
All in all, that's a pretty good list there, Jimmy.
Thank you, Reelschool, and I really appreciate the chance to work with you again.
However, it looks like once again, school's out.
Thanks to all of you for watching, and be sure to check out both our channels for more videos to watch. Take care.